good morning, good afternoon, and good night. I'm just kidding.
It's not good night yet. Give us some time.
Ruth, thank you so much. I'm so happy you're here. And thanks to all of you that are joining live or on the recorded session afterwards. We appreciate you taking time out of your hectic schedules. I know things are heating up in some areas, not here. It's like 50 degrees in Washington. But I know people are getting busy, and Ruth's got an incredible session for us today. These webinars, we do them once a month? Once a month. And this is all about making sure that you're running a profitable and growing business. So let's dive in. Miss Ruth.
Thank you very much.
Queen of cash. That's what I do. Queen of cash.
All right, let me share my screen and we will get started. All right, everybody should see this screen right now. And, as Jen said, it may be 50 degrees in Washington, but I promise you it's not 50 degrees in Atlanta, Georgia.
Right?
I turned my air conditioner on in April, which is not a good idea because I know it's going to be a really hot summer when I put it on that early. I totally resisted, but it was 87 degrees one night in my bedroom, and I said, that's it. It's going on.
I have my little fireplace over here that's just doing just enough.
Well, it will start getting hot in Washington pretty soon, I'm sure. And then you can go back and remember what it was like in Houston, Texas.
Yeah, that's real. That's real.
That's definitely real. All right. Thank you very much for joining us today. There are some really, really, really stupid things that you all do. And I know by talking about these right now that you will never do them, especially this summer. So we're going to go through them. And I know that now that I've revealed them, you're not going to do them. And it's going to help you be more profitable, save some cash, and build the momentum for this fall and the winter. So let's get going. And so many of you do this. You run your business only by looking at your checking account. And in the summer, the checking account gets very flush and you go, and then by the time you pay all your bills, guess what happens? You get a really, really good chance of running yourself out of business because all the cash that you collected during the summer goes to pay all of your bills and you don't have any left over to get you through the slower times of the year in the winter. Now, for those of you who are up north, you have the exact opposite. You've just finished a very, very busy time of year and you've got to get through the summer until, praying for next fall. So either way, you can use this. And, when summer's over or when winter's over, it gets a whole lot worse because all that cash that you accumulated goes bye-bye to pay your bills. And you're going, okay, what am I going to do now? So we're going to talk a little bit about some of the things that you should be doing in the summertime, and don't make these stupid mistakes this summer or next winter or next fall for those of you who are up north. So you're going to get the 7 stupid mistakes, how to avoid them, and what to do if you've made them in the past. All right. A little bit about me. My reason for being on this planet is to give you the tools and processes to get and stay profitable, build wealth, and significantly impact your life and the lives of your employees. I have been around since 1987, spoken to just about every manufacturer, almost a lot of the distributors and a lot of the associations. These are my books. They're all on Audible. They're all on Kindle, and they're all on Amazon. The last 3, Courage to be Profitable, Profit or Wealth, and 101 Dumb Financial Mistakes. We're going to talk through 7 of the 101 dumb ones today as it relates to our industry. All right, number 1 is to stop marketing. And you're going to look at me and say, are you absolutely nuts? Are you absolutely insane? You have to keep marketing when it gets busy. And you're going to, want that to me is like, why would you say that? All right, number 1, if you have more than 3,000 maintenance plans or 3,000 maintenance hours, you are likely to experience the phone not ringing off the hook in the summertime. Because if you've done your maintenance properly, guess what? The systems don't break down on that first hard day when they get stressed. You've taken care of all the minor issues before they cause a breakdown. So for a lot of the contractors that I work with who have 4, 5, 6, 7, 10,000 maintenance agreements, it doesn't get insanely crazy when it gets hot that first couple of days, because guess what? All of their systems are taken care of. So they get the opportunity to get new clients when it is busy time of year because their existing maintenance clients are doing really, really, really well. All right. The reason you continue to market in the busy time is that people need you now and they do pay attention. So if they don't know you from a hole in the wall, what are they going to do? They're going to go to Google. And if you've done your job right with CI Web Group, you're on the first page in a lot of areas, and they're going to start paying attention to you. So you're going to have the opportunity to get more clients, more customers, because your existing customers are happy, their systems are working, and they're not breaking down. In the middle of winter, I'm talking south here, I'm talking February, people don't need you. And so that's the time I would stop marketing, except to my maintenance agreement clients. Now is the time to market. I know it's counterintuitive to what everybody from Carrier Lennox train and except for Jen says, but this is when you market. You don't market in February. Or for those of you who are, big heating markets, you don't market in August, that type of thing.
The only thing I'll throw out there is, so right now, from an SEO standpoint, our SEOs in the beginning of summer are focused on optimizing your winter pages. If you've got 2 million, 5 million, 10 million pages in front of you, we need 3 to 9 months and potentially more than that to get your website from the bottom of Google to the top of Google. So by the time February comes around, you're ranking. Now in November, we start really, really concentrating on making sure November, December, January, February, that your air conditioning pages are ranked, because we need 3 to 9 months in advance to be able to get you from the bottom of Google to the top of Google. So when it comes to SEO, there's a difference. You always want to be investing heavily into SEO 3 to 9 months. And if you're in Los Angeles or you're in New York City, you need to do it 12 months in advance of the season to make sure you have a good season. So right now, if you move into summer and you don't see a lot of new lead acquisition or new client acquisition, it's probably because of the decisions you made 6 to 9 months ago or didn't make 6 to 9 months ago that are impacting your summer right now. So when it comes to advertising, paying for leads, buying leads, premium cost for those, that you have a lot more flexibility to be able to turn off, turn on, turn up, turn down, depending on your production schedules, how busy your staff is, and so forth. So SEO, that's year round, all the time. You never turn that on and off. But for advertising, where you're paying that premium, you have a little bit more flexibility based on your pipeline.
Yep. And the other thing you want to do is be strategic, is, look at where your existing customers are located. Where are your maintenance clients? You want to be marketing and advertising in the area where your maintenance clients are. Why? Because people will get the message and they'll see your trucks. And you want them to see your trucks and, be up and down the road and go, I just heard about those guys. Or, I just did a web search and I saw them. Be strategic about where your customers are located. And the other thing I would strongly consider now, in addition to what Jen is doing some direct mail in specific neighborhoods. I mean, look at what you're getting in your mailbox now. Nada, almost nothing. I mean, there are days I don't even get mail. So this is the time to get noticed, because you will be noticed. You won't be in a pile of, 27 different pieces of junk mail, which most people consider what we do. But if they need you now, guess what? They're likely to stop and read that postcard or that letter or whatever it is.
Yeah,
So,
I would agree. Target locations from a priority standpoint. Number one, where's your physical location? Google is going to require you to perform well in the city where you have a verified address on your Google business profile. Second is, where do you have technicians that dispatch from home, so you have short wheel time to be able to get to your jobs? And third is making sure that wherever the majority, like Bruce said, the majority of your existing customers are, that's where you have some brand recognition and you're going to perform better. And then you start scaling out and building additional target locations. And that's going to be based on what percent of the homes in there are owner occupied, what's the average income in that target market, how much competition is in that market, how quickly can you, get an investment that starts to convert to cash. So all of those things need to be a part of your consideration when you're expanding your locations, your geo targets.
All right, so continue marketing when it gets busy. That's the number one thing. Just keep marketing. Number two is not hiring a parts runner. All right. Even if you have 3 people in the field, in the summertime, you can justify a part-time parts runner. Billable hours are essential. Remember, the only way we generate revenue is through billable hours. If the guys aren't billing the customers or the ladies aren't billing the customers, then guess what? You're not generating revenue. All right. So if you can keep your guys and your ladies who are in the field generating revenue and have somebody bringing them parts or bringing them this or bringing them that, they continue to generate revenue. I promise you, a part-timer is going to cost you a whole lot less than that technician or that field employee who's out there working, generating revenue for you. Number two, if they're working, the thing that's really important is that you can avoid overtime. If they don't have to stop, if they don't have to go to the parts house, that's 2 hours. And they put 2 hours of overtime in to finish a job so a customer gets cool that night, I think we have a problem there. Let them keep working and get somebody to go do the parts running for you, okay? I have not known, and I mean, I've been doing this a long time. I have never seen where at least a guy working or a lady working 20 hours a week running parts has not paid for him or herself in the summer. Never seen it. Now, one of you probably is going to go, I did it, and I did it. All right, you're 1 out of 1,000, 0.1%. The others of you, 99.9%, this works for. Okay, I'll leave it that way. Number 3 is not looking at your bank accounts every single day. And I put this in all of my daily emails that I send out. Have you looked at your bank accounts online every day? It has to be a habit, just like brushing your teeth. It takes you less than 5 minutes a day to do a quick run through of what's in all of your accounts and make sure that the bad guys haven't gotten into your accounts. They are getting more creative, more nasty, and with different ways of getting in through so many different things that you have to look at your bank accounts every single day. And if something does not look right, guess what? You have to call the bank like instantly and say, this is an issue. And if you don't have somebody at your banks that you know really well, go get to know somebody who can be your personal account person that you can talk to at the bank.
You should have your business banker on text.
I text
my guy any day, anytime. He responds instantaneously. That is critical. And also on this note, I would just say that we need to make sure we're using good security practices. So do not use the same password on everything that you have. You need a tool like a 1Password or something that generates very, very difficult, secure passwords with every one of them requiring to be unique. And it's very easy and it's inexpensive to do that. In addition to that, don't open files and click links in emails unless you know the sender. And even then, check the sender to see, it might say the sender's name, Jennifer Bagley, but the URL or the email address it's sending from is something at gmail.com. And if you see that, stay away from that email, send an email back to whoever you think it's from and verify it first. We've got a lot of clients right now that are getting hammered from just randomly clicking on files. We had one client that actually sent all of his financials to who he thought was his CPA, but it wasn't his CPA. It was someone that was framing that email address, had their name, but the email address was a Gmail account, and he sent every customer record with all their financials to it. So we need to improve our security, but we just have to be a lot more diligent about making sure that we have good security practices. Same thing even with social media. It's critical.
And if there's a phone number on there, don't trust that phone number. Call the phone number that you absolutely know. I'll give you a perfect example. I have Sirius, XM in my car, and it said that my account was, up for renewal and everything else like that. Click here to renew. I went onto the Sirius XM website. The one I knew was Sirius XM. And did it. And yes, it was up for renewal, but I don't ever remember that stuff. But I don't trust an email from somebody I don't get information from every single day.
Yep.
I don't. So just do it. And if something doesn't look right, make sure you take care of it. Make sure that you call your banker and say, this is not right. Something doesn't look right here. right? It's
Oh,
really important to do that.
yeah, our clients get these letters in the mail on a regular basis that say your domain is about to expire. And they take a picture of it, they send it to our help desk team. 99% of the time it is a scam. So it's happening everywhere.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Number 4 is not saving cash. This is summer, folks. It's busy. Cash. All
What do you
right.
mean? Don't buy a RV?
Don't get me started. Last
Get a
summer,
new
one of my
boat?
clients bought a boat.
Yeah. It's funny because
We're
I
not
visit a lot
going
of
there.
clients and the warehouse that's supposed to have equipment has an RV, a boat, and a sea-doo next to it.
Yeah, no. So right now, 1 to 2% of all of your cash receipts should go into a savings account. So every Friday, you look at what you've deposited, or your bookkeeper looks at what was deposited. And then if it's $100,000, guess what? $1,000 to $2,000 is not going to kill you. You can still operate on the other $99,000 or $98,000. Put it away. By the end of summer, you're going to have some money saved up for a slower time of year. Right now, all of your maintenance receipts should be in a savings account. And nobody can tell me at this time of year that they need, if they do a maintenance, that they need the cash from the maintenance. I don't buy that one either. Again, if a customer pays you for a service call and a maintenance at the same time, that maintenance money needs to get moved. One of the things that's been really kind of interesting is that with some of them, it's not with all of the credit card companies who do recurring billing. We have some of my clients now ask that these maintenance receipts are put into their savings account directly, and they never hit their operating account, which makes your life faster and easier.
Yeah.
And then they never notice them until they start seeing when you look at your bank accounts every day, you see it, obviously. But I mean, after, a month or 2 or 3 or 4, all those little numbers add up. And so that works really, really well if you have a credit card company who will do that separate for your recurring revenue versus the other, like service receipts and that type of thing. All right. Now, for those of you who do commercial, I would take 5% of all commercial maintenance receipts and put it in the savings account. All right. That's my rule. You can't obviously put the entire amount in there, but you can generally put 5%. And you don't have to do this all year. Do it, especially in the summertime or when you're busy, because you can still operate on the rest of it, and that savings account starts growing. Don't go buy a boat with it, please.
Please. Please.
All right. Number 5. All right. Do not have a warehouse supermarket. And this picture was AI generated, by the way.
Sweet.
Yeah, so I get to use AI too. All right. You lose a lot of inventory at this time of the year. People just they say, okay, I need 1 of these, 2 of these, maybe I need 7 of these. And they just go through your warehouse and they take whatever they want because everybody is quote unquote busy, and people stop paying attention when it gets busy. You lose a lot of inventory at this time of year because you stop doing the things you do when it's slower, and people just take what they want. Or they go to the supply house and instead of ordering 1, they get 2. This is why we have parts runners at this time of year. You go get that 1 motor instead of those 2 motors.
Yes, inventory control and management.
Yep. Lock up your parts. And don't leave the parts room unlocked. There's no sense in having a lock on the door to the parts room when the parts room is unlocked. I can't tell you how many times I see that. And make sure that you do keep going with material lists and staging of jobs. It's really, really important, especially at this time of year. All right. This is a grouchy dispatcher because you just walked into his office and said one of your best customers has a problem with their system and you have to go out there right now or today. This is why we leave the second call of the day open when it's busy. I promise you, you will always be able to fill it. Maybe not when it's slower, but when it's busy, you can always move people up, and people love being moved up, okay? It'll help with emergencies, and I look at it where a tech was on call the evening before, and they did something to get them limping along till they got going, and they have to go back this morning with the right part. that's where you put it, second call of the day, and you can always fill it when it's busy. Always. I've never known it not to be filled. And instead of having your dispatcher looking at you like this, going, "Arr," they get less stressed out because they know what they can always move things a little bit around. Because if they had that perfect day, Murphy will come and bite them in the butt with an emergency without that second call of the day being open. And number 7, not getting accurate financial statements every month. And you're going to say, well, I'm too busy. You're never too busy to produce accurate financial statements. This is the time of year where you'll probably see, if you pay attention, financial statement fruit salad. All right. And what do I mean by that? That means that you have revenue in one month and the cost for that revenue in another month. All right. Your gross margins go up and down like a yo-yo. That's not what you want. You want revenue in the same months you have expenses. And this is where you see where people are taking bunches and bunches of inventory simply because your material expenses go up higher than they should be. And that's your clue. Okay? You should be profitable this time of year. If you're not, something is vastly wrong, probably pricing. Productivities could be another issue, but generally in the summer it is pricing. Okay. And you're going to find the hidden expenses when you look at a financial statement every month. If your bookkeeper has to do a couple of hours overtime to make sure that you get your books by the 10th of the month, so be it. Get them, do the analysis, make sure everything's going the right way. So you want to pay attention to your monthly financial statement review, making sure the work is profitable, making sure that you're collecting for the work. I mean, the last thing you want is a bunch of receivables or a bunch of work that you've done that's that the customer financed and you didn't get them to sign off on the financing paperwork. Believe me, I've seen it. All right. Get that all done so that you can get paid. And obviously make sure that you're paying attention to cash. All right. So if you want help with this, go to Financially Fit Business. You can look at the trends for everything else from your business from that perspective and make sure you're doing everything that we just talked about with respect to the financial statement. This takes you less than 10 minutes a month. AI reads your financial statements so you don't even have to input anything, just upload them. By the end of summer, October-ish, they'll be able to analyze your statements too. So then there's no excuse at that point. All right, any questions?
You guys, if you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the chat. Otherwise, I'm going to show Ruth one thing. We're going to get a special treat. I want to show her something and get her feedback on it. While
Okay.
you are looking at questions, let me share my screen real quick.
Let me stop sharing mine. There you
All
go.
right. So this is our ROAS reporting. What do you think is when you've got this much sitting in open estimates? So I'll explain it real quick.
Yeah.
This is the investment for this month. This is the total number of conversions. This is the potential revenue on the table. Estimated revenue is the average between their good, better, best. Sold means the consumer chose one of those options, a good, better, best, and then closed revenue at the bottom. And this is giving us what their match rate is, their book rate, how many leads were bookable, and then how many paying customers did it net out to. When you see a really, really high spike in estimated revenue and sold revenue is trailing a lot, what are your thoughts?
Didn't offer good, better bets, number one. They're not following up on leads, number two. If it's this time of year, the customer is generally too busy to get 27,000 bids, so they don't trust you, number three. It's not maintenance agreement clients, number four, because if it were maintenance agreement clients, I'm going to make that 6 million. You should have 4.8 million in revenue on $6 million in estimates for maintenance agreement clients or higher. Those would be my four.
I would only add in there financing approvals. We've noticed that some companies are marketing to areas that maybe are a little less financially savvy and they're having a struggle getting financing approvals, or they're not offering financing at all.
Or they're not doing most depends on who you're dealing with, but a lot of them have financing for really high risk companies or customers. And it's really hard, not that real, like you gotta be really, 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 really bad not to be financed in those cases.
Yes, agreed. I think right now, here's the beauty about inputting or implementing proper conversion tracking is one, for every single advertising strategy, whether it's your organic or your advertising, other or direct, you're able to calculate what my return on ad spend is for each one of these different marketing strategies. And within the marketing strategy, diving in even further. So for organic, for example, sitting at a 25x to a 48x for organic marketing compared to your paid advertising, where you might be sitting at a 4 to 12x. This is when you have the highest volume. These next 6 months, if you get your tracking systems in place, get it integrated with your field management system, we can dive in and make some really, really strong decisions to be able to pivot down to the individual campaign. So not only within that, but being able to really dive into how are you performing on GLSA versus paid ads versus Facebook leads and so forth. Each of these different categories is performing significantly different, but this 6 months, getting the system so it's trackable in place, this is the only opportunity that a lot of companies have to be able to really, really perfect and tweak every single marketing strategy that you have. In addition to, as Ruth said, how are your CSRs converting the leads? What's your speed to lead? Are they taking care of every customer? Are you targeting the right markets? Are you offering the right services? I mean, this is the moment when we can tell.
Yep, absolutely. So cool.
All right, awesome. Thank you. I figured I would get your snapshot view of that really quick. Our goal is to try and get as many of our clients into more advanced reporting systems and ROAS calculators within the next 30 days so that we can use this next 6 months to be able to alter the path.
And if you have questions, there's where you get me too.
Good stuff. Thank you so much, Ruth. I appreciate you as always. Thank you to all of you that took time out of your busy schedules to either show up live or watch the recording. And until the next time, stay financially fit.
Thank you. See y'all.